Hello everyone, my name is Ishan and welcome to the Race Monkey. I have another very interesting car in the Race Monkey garage, and that is this, the Toyota Urban Cruiser Taisor. Based on the Maruti Suzuki Fronx, this is a cross-hatch that benefits from Toyota's after-sales, warranty and overall ownership quality. And in this video, I'm going to talk to you about what makes this one of the nicer hatchbacks to live with in India right now, and we'll also be doing a proper fuel economy test to really understand if this is also the most fuel efficient hatchback in India because it has a mild hybrid system underneath that bonnet. So without further ado, let's get on with this video. Now, before we start talking about the exterior of the Taisor, let's talk about the key. This is the smallest key in the history of small keys that I've seen, and this can easily fit in your watch pocket of your jeans. It has a lock and an unlock button, and it unlocks this beautiful car. The Taisor does look much fresher than the Fronx, and it starts off with that narrower grille up in the front and that Toyota logo, which enhances the reliability image of this car. It gets a new set of LED DRLs, although the headlamp cluster is exactly the same as the Fronx. Here on the side, you get these petal-shaped alloy wheels, which are beautiful to look at and are diamond cut. Sure to good air tires. On the side, this is where it looks like a Fronx. Until or unless you don't notice the difference in alloy wheels between the two cars, they look identical. And that's a similar story at the back as well. The only differentiator between the Fronx and the Taisor are these tail lamps. They have a different design and they look very, very similar otherwise in terms of the overall shape. The Urban Cruiser Taisor badge over here, you get a Neo Drive badge over here, and since we are at the back, when we open up the boot, it's getting a good amount of space to carry at least 3 large bags for your family to go on a long trip. And very interestingly, it has a lock button for the boot lid as well, which is very unique. That's it about the exterior of the Toyota Taisor. Let's get on the inside and talk to you more about over there. Here on the inside of the Toyota Taisor, things look very good quality and ergonomic as well. Now, to start off with, you are immediately taken away by the number of colors that you see over here. You get black, you get silver, you get bronze, and you get this beautiful burgundy shade at the bottom, which is a different story in the Maruti Suzuki Fronx. You get this nice leatherette steering wheel with your cruise control buttons and your audio controls and your phone controls over here with a shiny plastic material at the bottom. 5-speed manual gearbox for this 1-liter turbocharged petrol motor, and this 9-inch touchscreen, which is a takeaway from the Fronx. Everything that you see on the inside is very similar to the Fronx, and that's not a bad thing. This is a very, very well designed cabin. You also get a heads-up display, believe it or not, at this price tag, which is a boon when you're doing long distance journeys and you don't want to put your eyes on the screen between the dials. The air conditioning is pretty solid. You get automatic climate control in the front, good amount of cubby spaces under here as well, and a decent sized glove box. What you don't get is a Type C charging port in the front. You have a Type A charging port. You have a Type A and Type C at the back. You get an auto dimming rear view mirror, lack of India's favorite feature, which is the sunroof, and you get vanity mirrors with light in both the sunshades. This is a nicely designed cabin for people who want to drive this car on a daily basis. And what's the best thing about the Toyota Taisor in general are these fabric seats. They hold you so well, and the way they have been designed is fantastic. I've spent about 150 kilometers driving this car continuously, and I did not feel tired at all. This is a very ergonomic cabin. It's going to allure a lot of people who do daily drives in and out of the city. Now, here in the back seat of the Toyota Taisor, things are even better. If you compare it against the likes of the Tata Altroz and the Hyundai i20, the space situation is massive. I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall and I have tons of knee room and loads of headroom as well. This driving seat has been positioned as per my driving style, and I drive in a very relaxed position with the seat all the way down. You got an okayish window area which puts in good amount of light to make this very dark themed interior a little on the lighter side. You get two AC vents at the rear with two charging ports and a place to keep your mobile phone, a seat pocket only on the passenger side and not behind the driver, and you get a light over here as well. You have the safety of 6 airbags in this car, so you rest assured that your rear passengers would be safe. Otherwise, very comfortable, nicely designed cabin for you to spend long trips in with absolute comfort. So the Toyota Taisor, aka Maruti Suzuki Fronx with a Toyota badge, feels pretty good to drive as a first impression. Now, I was thinking that it would be a little too wallowy considering it is a cross hatch with a higher ground clearance and those big chunky side plastic claddings. But none of that is true. The steering response is pretty good. The drive-by-wire gear shift is pretty slick as well. Because this car only weighs 1,055 kilos, that 100 horsepower and 148 newton meters of torque really comes to life in an instant. You don't feel that the car is pulling too much when you are accelerating in the lower RPM band. Now, that is something which is going to make your everyday commute very relaxing. But if you come to think of it as an enthusiast car where you want to push the engine to the maximum or let the RPM gauge steam to high 4,000, 5,000 RPM, this is not a very benefiting car, to be honest. The low end and mid range of the torque band is healthy. The moment you go any higher, it is going to get a little lethargic, which shouldn't be happening in a turbocharged petrol motor. But all of that calibration has been done to benefit maximum drivability within the city, and that this car does with absolute comfort. Now, what also impresses me a lot, and which should not be a huge deal considering this is a Maruti Fronx underneath, is the fuel economy. Now, I've been driving around with my fiance in the passenger seat in Delhi, and not that I'm trying to extract the maximum fuel economy out of it, driving very sanely, lifting off when I see a red light, or not prodding the car every now and then looking at some gaps on the highway. I've been rushing around in this car through and through in the morning. We went through torrential rains of Gurgaon early in the morning when we left. And even still, with all of that driving style in place, this is still giving me a healthy 17 kmpl within the city. And it'll be interesting to see how efficient this car is on the highway, because I'm really yearning to take this car to the lower 30 kmpl mark. Yes, this is a mild hybrid, and yes, this is very light, and for that, the power and torque figures are pretty healthy. Now, what also, in addition to all the mechanical calibration, impresses me a lot is the overall design of the cabin. This car costs 11.5 lakh rupees on road in Delhi with all the taxes and all the warranties involved. And with the kind of materials that Maruti slash Toyota has chosen for this spec, It's pretty good. Although I would have much appreciated if they would have gone for beige interiors rather than black and burgundy that they have right now, which honestly does look very, very premium for this class. Because at night you barely can see anything kept around because there are no ambient lights. The roof lights are also not very bright because they are old halogen bulbs inside. And it does look a little dingy once it starts getting a little darker on the outside. But when it's light and properly sunny in the day, this looks like a nice, luxurious cabin for a cross hatchback, which is pretty unique. The position of the screen is done very ergonomically. The position of the air conditioning is done very ergonomically. You get a climate control system. You don't have a type C charger over here, whilst you have a type C charger for the rear passenger. So you have to pull out the cable if you're having iPhones upwards of 14 or newer generation of Samsung mobile phones. It's going to be a bit of a hassle to plug it in at the back and then plug in your phone. But I'm just being nitpicky. Otherwise, the way this car just behaves on the road, especially within the city, is supremely relaxing, and I really, really like it. Yes, it does not have ADAS. Yes, it does not have all the safety functions. Plus, the structure is also not stable considering this is a Maruti Suzuki car underneath. But 6 airbags, an ESP system, ISOVIX seats for the child at the back. Has enough boxes ticked for the basic safety equipment that you require in a small hatchback. Now, certain things that annoy me a lot. Number one is the heads-up display. I'm 5 feet 8 inches tall, and this is my relaxed driving position. I can see over the dashboard and I can look out on the road as to what obstructions are there. Once I switch on the heads-up display, it sort of creates a massive blind spot in my line of sight, which is absolutely horrible. So almost 99% of the time I keep it inside the dashboard. That's the most useless heads-up display in the history of heads-up displays that you can get in 2024. Now, which is also an eyesore, are these dummy buttons on the steering wheel. If manufacturers don't choose to give certain features in a car, they might as well make it more seamless in terms of design rather than giving dummy buttons, because you feel a little shortchanged as to what did you miss out on the equipment that the manufacturer might be supplying elsewhere. Out on the highway, the Toyota Taisor is even more impressive because of the lower weight and good amount of low-end torque, which is very crucial in doing quick overtakes with just one gear down. The overall drivability of this car is pretty unique. But because of the mild hybrid system that this comes with as standard, the fuel economy is just mind-blowing. I've been cruising on the National Highway 8 from Delhi towards Gurgaon, and in the last 18 so kilometers of me driving on this road, I've been achieving a fuel economy figure of 31.3 kilometers to the liter, which is absolutely... Let me just show it to you. That is how good the fuel economy is. That's not an instantaneous fuel economy, to be honest. Look at that. 30.6 because we're going up the hill now. So what's my final verdict on the Toyota Taisor? Treat it like the Maruti Suzuki Fronx and you'll be mistaken. This gets the after-sales service reliability of the Toyota brand, and it is very, very good as a daily driver. This is all the car you need if you want a nice, frugal, easy to maintain and easy to own car at about 11-12 lakh rupees at max with all the bells and whistles. It's got the space and it has that incredibly efficient 1-liter turbo engine with the mild hybrid system, which just is unbelievable in terms of how much fuel efficiency it gives. Very well designed, very easy to own, and it's going to be a good companion for you in the next few years of ownership. Yes, there is this question of safety, and this is not the safest car to own. As a matter of fact, this is one of the least safest cars to own in India. But if you're someone who's not really bothered about safety ratings and want something very reliable and easy to use within the city, get this. You would not be disappointed.